when you start the process, you are here, you are there, or you are there. Is heritage.
The world of football has never quite seen a character like Jose Mourinho. The Portuguese coach is widely regarded as one of the greatest and most decorated managers to ever grace the game, with hugely successful spells in Portugal, England, Italy and Spain. Jose's success has made him one of the most popular names in the world of football. In addition to his immense success on the field, Jose is also popular for his unique character on the touchline, where he's forged many rivalries and given us some of the most iconic moments in the history of the game. Here is the story of football's special one. Jose Mourinho's interest in football began at an early age and was heavily influenced by his father, who played professionally in Portugal as a goalkeeper and was a coach in the Portuguese First Division. After a brief and uneventful playing career, Jose decided to focus on a career as a manager at just age 24. In his early years as a ball boy for his father's teams and during his playing days, Mourinho demonstrated a keen eye for tactical details and an understanding of football that wasn't common for people his age. Jose's talent for coaching was evident, and he was determined to translate his coaching talents into the big leagues. But being so young and with little coaching experience, Jose knew he had to be patient to achieve this goal. Mourinho's first job in the football industry came in an unexpected role, but one he has often described as an important step in his career. In 1992, Jose was appointed as a translator for Bobby Robson, who had been hired as the new coach of Sporting Lisbon. Jose's job was to bridge the language barrier Robson had with the Portuguese media and his players. 2 years later, Robson moved to Sporting's rivals Porto and took Mourinho along with him. At Porto, Jose's tactical intellect had begun to turn heads, especially Robson's. Despite just being a translator, Jose would often discuss tactics and analyse games with Robson, who had become very reliant on Jose's insights. Soon the Portuguese was promoted from a translator to Porto's assistant manager, where he and Robson won 2 league titles, 3 Portuguese Cups and reached the Champions League semi-finals. After a successful spell in Portugal in 1996, Mourinho and Robson took their talents to Spain, where they worked at Barcelona. Jose spent his first year working under Robson in Catalonia, and the pair finally parted ways in 1997 after Barcelona dismissed Robson, but the club were keen on keeping Mourinho around. Jose worked under the next Barca boss, Louis van Gaal, where his talents further blossomed. During his time in Spain, Jose also formed a close relationship with Barcelona midfielder Pep Guardiola, who would become his coaching adversary years later. Mourinho's 4 years in Barcelona led him on a managerial path of his own, becoming the first team coach of Benfica. But that was short-lived due to disagreements with newly appointed Benfica president, Manuel Vilarino. Mourinho was in charge at Benfica for just 9 league games before resigning from his role in December 2000. Mourinho was hired by Portuguese side União de Leiria in June 2001, where 6 excellent months as their first team coach earned him an interview with Portuguese giants FC Porto. And as manager of Porto, Mourinho's career took off. Mourinho took over at Porto in the middle of the 2001-2002 season during the winter recess. Jose took over at a time when Porto was struggling. They were 5th place in the Portuguese league, knocked out of the domestic cup, and were also underperforming in Europe. But Mourinho's arrival changed all that in the second half of the league season. Porto lost just 2 games for the rest of the campaign, finishing in 3rd place and laying strong foundations for what was to come next. In Jose's first full season at Porto, he had led the team to a league title in record-breaking style, winning 27 games, drawing 5 and losing just 2. Further trophies followed that season in the form of the Domestic Cup and the UEFA Europa League, after a 3-2 victory over Celtic in the final. This completed an unprecedented treble for Porto in 18 months after Jose Mourinho took charge of their struggling side. Jose's stocks within the European game were rising quickly, and the following season launched his blossoming young career into superstardom. In the 2003-2004 campaign, Jose led Porto to another league title, making it 2 in a row. But the highlight of their season and one of the defining moments of Jose's career came in the Champions League. Jose led a young Porto squad to their first ever Champions League trophy, notably overcoming Sir Alex's Manchester United in the round of 16, a game which put Jose Mourinho firmly on the map. Porto faced Monaco in the 2004 UEFA Champions League final and ran out comfortable 3-0 winners thanks to goals from Carlos Alberto, Deco and Alenichev. The UCL final victory closed another page on Jose's career. The young manager's superstar status had outgrown Porto, and it was time to take on bigger challenges. and this came in the form of the English game. Jose Mourinho was hired by Roman Abramovich as the new manager of Chelsea, and upon arriving in London, Jose made his intentions clear in his first press conference. Jose declared himself the Special One, a nickname that has defined the Portuguese's career. Jose arrived at Chelsea at a time where the league was under strict duopoly by Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United and Arsene Wenger's Arsenal. But just like he'd done everywhere, Jose wasted no time in making his mark in his new environment. Chelsea immediately mirrored Jose's self-determination and graft, becoming an extremely difficult opponent for the Premier League's elite sides. Jose won the Premier League in his first season with the Blues in record-breaking fashion. Chelsea's 15 goals conceded remains a record till date, and their 95 points for the season was a record at the time. Another league title followed in his second season, winning the league with 91 points, earning him his fourth league title in a row. Jose had successfully built a new powerhouse in England and European football. Victories over Manchester United in the FA Cup final and Arsenal in the League Cup final in the 06-07 season rounded up a successful three-season stint in England. Disagreements with the higher-ups at Chelsea meant Jose was sacked early into his fourth season at the Blues, a decision many of the Chelsea players described as devastating. Jose left without a single loss in 3 years at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. With Mourinho on the market, several of Europe's top clubs were on alert, including Barcelona and Real Madrid. But Jose took his talents to Italian giants Inter Milan, where he would continue to make history. Inter won the Scudetto in his first season, finishing 10 points ahead of Juventus. This was Jose's fifth league title in 7 years of management, and despite disappointing exits in the Champions League to Manchester United and the Italian Cup to Sampdoria, the 08-09 season helped Mourinho build the foundations for what was to come in the next year. Ahead of the 2009-2010 season, Inter Milan completed the signings of Samuel Eto'o, Wesley Sneijder, Thiago Motta, Lucio, and Diego Milito. Rebuilding the core of the team in his manner was a huge gamble for Inter, but deciding to back Jose's wishes proved to be the right decision from Inter. Inter successfully defended their Serie A title, beating Roma to the crown by 2 points. They also won the Coppa Italia final against Roma thanks to a goal from Diego Milito. From the double secured, Inter's focus turned to the Champions League in one of the defining ties of Jose Mourinho's career. Inter faced off against Barcelona and Pep Guardiola in the semi-finals. Barcelona were overwhelming favourites and were widely considered the best team of all time, with players like Messi, Xavi and Iniesta in their ranks. But Jose outsmarted his rival Pep, with Inter winning the first leg 3-1 at the San Siro. The defensive masterclass at the Camp Nou saw Inter through to Jose's second UCL final, where a brace from striker Diego Milito saw Inter crowned kings of Europe. Jose was at the pinnacle of the sport again. The final proved to be his last game in Milan, as he drew strong attention from Spanish giants Real Madrid, who hired him ahead of the 2010-2011 season. At Real Madrid, Jose was now at the biggest club in the world and went toe-to-toe against Barcelona and rival Pep Guardiola. Jose's first year in Spain didn't go as planned. Despite winning the Spanish Cup final against Barcelona, Madrid failed to stop Barca's dominance in the league, and were also knocked out by Pep's men in the Champions League. Going into the second season in Spain, Jose was determined to set things right. Madrid came into the season on fire. Led by Cristiano Ronaldo, they were scoring points and winning games at an unprecedented rate. On the 21st of April 2012, Madrid visited the Camp Nou in what was the title decider between Real Madrid and Barcelona. A second-half goal from Ronaldo gave Madrid a 2-1 win, and a few weeks later, Jose lifted the La Liga title with records for most goals scored and most points won in a single La Liga season. However, another disappointment on the Champions League semis left a sour taste on the season as Madrid were knocked out on penalties against Bayern. The 2013-2014 season proved to be Jose's last in Spain. Barcelona wrestled the title back off the hands of Madrid. They lost the Copa del Rey final to Atletico, and a 4-goal game from Dortmund's Robert Lewandowski knocked Los Blancos out of the Champions League. Jose described this as the worst season of his career, and shortly after was relieved of his duties by Madrid president Florentino Perez. With Mourinho on the market, he was heavily linked with Manchester United to replace the newly retired Sir Alex Ferguson, but he opted for a second spell at Chelsea, returning to London ahead of the 13-14 season. Jose's first season back at the Blues ended with no trophies after finishing third in the Premier League, and exiting the Champions League in the semi-finals to Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. But the season wasn't without some iconic moments, such as Chelsea's 6-0 win over Arsene Wenger's Arsenal, the infamous Gerrard slip, and Chelsea's 1-0 win at Anfield, and Demba Ba's late winner against PSG. Despite the disappointment, as was the theme of his career so far, Mourinho's second season back in Liverpool produced some fireworks. Ahead of the 14-15 season, Chelsea added Cesc Fabregas and Diego Costa to their ranks, and in addition to starman Eden Hazard, the Blues looked like champions from the very first game of the season. Chelsea ran out comfortable champions of the 2015 Premier League, earning Jose his third Premier League title. Chelsea also won the League Cup, defeating Spurs in the final thanks to goals from Diego Costa and captain John Terry. Ahead of his third season back in London, Jose stated that his ambition was to win the Champions League with Chelsea, but things wouldn't go according to plan on the pitch. Chelsea lost a staggering 9 out of their first 16 games of the 2015-2016 season, leaving them deep in the bottom half of the table close to Christmas. This led to Mourinho's second departure from the Blues after the club announced a mutual decision to part ways with their legendary manager. Jose left Chelsea as the club's most successful manager of all time. As a free agent, Mourinho was once again a hot commodity, and this time he landed at Chelsea's rivals Manchester United, a club he'd been heavily linked to for 5 years. Mourinho's first season in Manchester brought some silverware in the form of a Europa League trophy and the League Cup, thanks to a dramatic 3-2 win over Southampton. Jose's reputation for having stellar second seasons at his clubs raised the excitement levels for his second year in Manchester, but despite a strong fight, they couldn't keep up the pace with Pep's Manchester City, only managing a second-place finish. A round of 16 exit to Sevilla in the Champions League, followed by Jose's infamous rant about the club's heritage, strained his relationship with those in the boardroom. Mourinho and United decided to continue together into a third season, but United started the season extremely poorly, winning just 7 of their first 17 league games and trailing the league leaders Manchester City by 19 points. United announced his sacking in December 2018, bringing his time at Old Trafford to an end. Jose's final hurrah in the English game came at Tottenham Hotspur, where he had an unremarkable 17-month spell with no trophies before being relieved of his duties in North London in April 2021. With arch-rival Pep Guardiola still at the top of his game, many in the media believed Jose's time at the pinnacle of football was finished. But in typical Jose fashion, he didn't stay down for long. Ahead of the 21-22 season, Mourinho signed for AS Roma, marking his return to the Italian game. The now veteran manager wasted no time in shushing his doubters, guiding Roma to a European final in his first season. A Nicolo Zaniolo goal in the first half was enough to beat Feyenoord in the Conference League final, and made Jose the first manager to win all 3 UEFA club competitions. A second European final followed in the 2022-23 season, with Roma taking on Europa League expert Sevilla and losing narrowly on penalties. Despite leaving Roma soon after in January 2024, Jose believes his spell at Roma proved the doubters wrong. The special one is once again on the market as he looks for his next adventure in management. There is no indication of where the Portuguese will take his talents next, but what is certain is that he's one of the most decorated managers of all time, and Jose's place in the history books is set in stone. That's it for another video. As always, let us know your thoughts on the special one in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time.